Why? What did this exercise help you with? Focusing on what? Focusing on who? Is it helpful to think along these lines in the preparation stages or even the strategy stage of a presentation? Rather than doing what most of us do, which is to leap immediately into the ocean of information and swim happily, knowing that once we give this information to our audience, they're going to get it and they're going to do what we want them to do, right? Yes, that's the way we think. Does that happen? Who knows? The gentleman asked earlier, how do we know if our listeners have heard us? How do we know they are going to take away what we want them to take away and proceed along the lines we want them to proceed along and live the influence we are trying to imbibe in them without any idea of a clear purpose in our own mind? Because our purpose, you see, informs what that content will be. We don't know what the content will be until we understand our listeners and what they need and what we are trying to do with them. Because a purpose which is slightly different from another purpose will mean the information that you bring in is slightly different information. You will bring in the data, the visuals, the stories, the testimonials, whatever you may need to achieve that purpose. And if your purpose is somewhat different, you will bring in different information to achieve that purpose, different content. So this is vastly more helpful than just charging into a presentation ready and armed and willing to convey information to our listeners. To receive information is not a very engaging thing for audiences. And what we do to many audiences is just let information wash over them in wave after wave after wave, thinking they'll get it and they'll act upon it the way we want them to. How do we know that? When we're very clear as to what our purpose is, we can then engage that audience during the presentation to find out whether it's happening. So I gave you some information, then you did something and discussed it, and then afterwards I'm asking you, was this helpful and why? Presumably this will help cement in your mind the importance of doing this and a little bit of the way to go about it. So that when you leave here today, this workshop will have been some use for you. I hope that it will be more use from this point forward, but up till this point, I want you to take away, okay, let me bear this in mind for when I give presentations. Think in terms of my audience first and what I'm trying to do with them.